Hello, you're watching Agri-Riches TV, and this is Time with an Agribusiness Giant. And today we are going to be looking at the POM irrigation scheme, one of the largest irrigation scheme in Ghana. And we're going to be talking to Engineer Richard Opong-Boateng, who is the Acting Chief Executive at the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll go to our guests and we'll have a discussion on the POM irrigation scheme. Stay tuned.
Want to own an agro-processing factory, but held by financial and technical challenges? TIAST got you covered. We assured of 80% financial support. You only need an investment of 20%. Aside that, you get technical support, ranging from machine design, manufacturing to installation, with a guaranteed offtake support. Own a factory today. TIAST Group, more value for agriculture.
So welcome back. My guest for today is the Acting Chief Executive of GIDA, that is Ghana Irrigation Development Authority. He is Engineer Richard Opong-Boateng. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you, my brother.
So being an Acting Chief, how has it been so far? I think it's a tedious task.
Not so tedious as you are saying. So far, so good. Maybe let me give you a background of GIDA. GIDA was established by a decree, SMC Decree 85 of 1977, and is the only state institution mandated to regulate dam construction, water resource development for irrigation.
Okay.
So far, for the past 50 years, that has been our operation and management of irrigation schemes.
Okay. So, your mission clearly states that you are using available water resources to enhance food security and then lastly to create sustainable livelihoods. We would delve into the POM irrigation scheme, but your mission, how is it so far? Are there any success stories?
Yes, so far we have done about 191 irrigation schemes in Ghana.
Okay.
Where various crops are being produced, rice, maize, and other vegetables. And the biggest ones are about 5 or 6 of them. I can mention POM irrigation scheme, Botanga irrigation scheme, Rita irrigation scheme, Tono irrigation scheme, VIA, and the rest.
Okay.
Yeah, so far everything has been good. In fact, if you look at the setup of GIDA, we are not just looking at only the water resource, as you are saying, for crop production, but also in terms of capacity building of our farmers. Irrigation is a new concept, though it has been with us for some time, but it's still new as we go by with new innovations. So as part of our process, we look at the hard component, which is the dam.
Okay.
Then we look also at the soft component, which is cropping,
okay,
and also farmers' capacity building. Yeah, so POM, for example, is the biggest irrigation scheme that we have in the country. About 4,400 hectares, with about 2,400 under rice cultivation and about 2,000 under banana plantation by Ghana Exotics. And these farms are being managed by our smallholder farmers, about 3,500 in number.
Okay.
And in fact, if you look at the importance of irrigation, it's putting about 10,000 households into production across the rice value chain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which means a lot of employment opportunities have been created.
Yeah, over 10,000 direct and indirect jobs.
10,000?
Yeah, about 10,000. Yeah, it's huge. With the farmers alone, it will be over 3,500. So if you combine Ghana Exotics, which is about 2,000 hectares, they have employed about 5,000 workers,
okay,
who are into banana plantation, yeah, for export and for the domestic market.
So aside the POM irrigation scheme having this huge number of farmers under the scheme, are you also looking at other irrigation centers in the future, or is there any irrigation scheme that is somehow, let me see, near the capacity you have at POM irrigation?
Yes, we have the Rita, that is the water region,
okay,
K2 South. We also have, when you go to the north, Tono and VIA.
Okay.
If you put them together, for the past 50 years, we have only done about 10% of our potential in terms of irrigation development.
Okay.
We have about 1.8 million hectare potential irrigation to develop. But we have done about 10%, which is about 220,000 hectares.
Okay.
We still want to explore more, but irrigation development is very expensive. and the government alone cannot bear the cost. Okay. So the way forward now is to bring on board the private sector. To the private sector, we can have a lot of capital injection into irrigation development. So we'll be upscaling. We are exploring other potential sites. For example, if you take a look at the water lake, it's a huge water resource which we have not tapped. And for over the years, you hear of Bagri Dam spillage causing a lot of devastation to homes and livelihood. But we think that if you are able to put together some structures, whereby if you have a lot of inflows, we can also abstract and store and release maybe in the dry season. We are also exploring the use of groundwater. But that one is scarce. Averagely, you can get about 3 liters per second. But for smallholder farmers, somebody doing vegetable, it doesn't need so much water. So in communities where you don't have access to surface water, we can go into the use of groundwater. So we have the potential. We can expand. And if you look at rice cultivation, for example, our demand, what we need is about 1.5 million metric tons a year.
A year?
Yes. But currently, we're producing around 600,000 metric tons. So there's a gap of about 900,000 metric tons. We have the inland valleys. We have the water resource. What we need is to develop the lands for our smallholder farmers. When you go to the inland valleys, which are suitable for rice cultivation, you have a lot of thick vegetation, raffia, bamboo, and tall grass. And our smallholder farmers don't have the capacity to develop the land. If the government can put in resources to do the land development, I'm sure our farmers will be able to produce more rice to close the gap and even export to the neighboring countries.
So you made mention of, governments coming to support, and then also the private institutions. So do you already have some private institutions that are supporting?
Yeah, we have some private institutions like Jospon Rice Project, which is coming on board. And that one is going to be in the form of the collaboration with GIDA. In fact, GIDA is going to be the implementation partner, because we have the capacity to look at their designs, also supervise the construction of the infrastructure. We'll be signing an MOU with them very soon for the project to start. But at the moment, GIDA is helping with the site selection. So about 5 teams went out to the field and came with data, which we have analyzed and realized that we can put about 300,000 hectares into rice production.
Wow.
Yeah, so now we are doing the analysis. If you compare just a simple calculation, 300,000 by, let's say, 3 tons per hectare per year, which is about 900,000 metric tons, which will close the gap. So it means that if you're able to marshal resources and help the private sector, he might not have the technical know-how, but once GIDA is there to support, like a collateral from the government, we can help him to implement the project. And it's doable. What we need is just capital injection. The technical know-how, we have it, but the capital injection. If we're able to mobilize or help him to get resources, to get machinery, to get equipment, that will go into the valleys to develop the land. The next 5 years, we should be able to close the gap in our demand for rice.
So what should Ghana expect from GIDA in the coming years?
In the coming years, we will still be coming out with concept notes. We'll be coming out with proposals and for the government to also consider, and also for the private sector. GIDA will want to move away from depending on the government for financial support. That cannot continue for long. So what we'll be doing is that we're working with the private sector to also whip in some amount of money or funds that will help us to run the office. So I believe we have our technical know-how. We have very good personnel when it comes to design, when it comes to construction, even capacity building of the farmers. If we're able to leverage on these assets, we'll be able to support the government and for the country to be food sufficient.
So there's a notion out there that agriculture is a risky venture, or it is not that much lucrative. So you have the opportunity to tell farmers and stakeholders, or even people that would want to partner with GIDA on the lucrativeness of the sector. So is it a worthy sector that people should venture into?
Yes, it's a worthy sector. Yesterday we were at Ghana Irrigation Scheme.
Okay.
And we were asking about how they were coping with their crop production. One guy indicated that he's able to get about 30,000 Ghana cedis within a year as profit.
Wow.
Yeah, about 30,000. He did it this cropping season, which is about 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Twice a year. So you could say it's very lucrative. People should not fear about the risks in agriculture. If you have irrigation, which will guarantee all year round water
supply,
that will curtail the risks involved. Maybe what they will be looking for is maybe source of funding. Initially you need a lot of money. To go to maybe land development, also buy maybe seeds and also agrochemicals. But for the risk, it's even possible you can have what we call crop insurance.
Okay.
So for us on the irrigation schemes, we don't have issue with drought. Climate change is mitigated with irrigation once you have water. The other one is about pest. But if you have good agronomic practices, you can be able to control pest.
Okay.
Yeah. So the risks might not be so huge or large as people see it outside. When you come and it's irrigated agriculture, the risks are mitigated in a way.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chief.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for honoring us.
Yeah, thank you.
So you've been listening to the Acting Chief Executive of the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority, Engineer Richard Opon Boateng, and he has given some promising assurances that irrigation is going to develop the agriculture sector. Thus, we need to partner with GIDA to make sure that our irrigation schemes are strengthened. So this is AgriRiches TV. We'll be coming your way same time next week with another episode on Time with an Agribusiness Giant. Thank you very much for staying with us.